This is tracked by the developers People Can Fly Island Limited, and it was released on the 13th of November 2025. About the game. You are flying to an island with your sister to spread your father's ashes, but the plane goes down and you have lost your sister. Now you must search for your father's cabin, survive by collecting resources, upgrade stuff in your cabin to gain access to better blueprints to build better gear, and survive the elements and wildlife, not to mention the gang of drug smuggling bad guys. Collect food like berries, mushrooms, herbs, kill animals, then open them up for the meat and the skin and the bones, then cook it all up, but be careful what you mix together, pick the wrong ingredients and you will die from poisoning. Then don't forget to keep your canteen flask full of water from sources such as barrels of water, puddles, rivers and lakes. Don't fill up your backpack too full or you won't be able to move very fast. Levels and size. The game is pretty large, but it's not as free roaming as Green Hell, which kind of ruins the immersion. I actually think this is the game's biggest downfall. For example, the game gently guides you through paths and you can't really deviate from them, like cut through the trees or jumping or climbing over the little banks. Don't get me wrong, you can explore a lot of places, but there's just something restricting. Otherwise, the scenarios look great. I know many people are going to complain about the graphics. Yes, they could be better, but they are not the worst I've ever seen. More importantly is the layout and the designs of the island, which I think looks great. It's always fun for me exploring and looking around in new games like this. I really love playing Green Hell through, and this has its similarities, but at the same time it's quite different. Like Green Hell, you could build a camp anywhere, sleep, but in Tract you don't seem to ever sleep, and you keep returning to your dad's cabin to drop off supplies, much like the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Speaking of, don't forget to try every door you see, even the caravans. In all, it took me around 11 to 12 hours to complete the entire game on the medium settings, so I think you're going to get your money's worth. Enemies and bosses. The enemies look good, and let me tell you, there's nothing more terrifying than seeing a bear charge at you in the night time. All the gang members look good, though I do think they act a little stupid and shout out some of the same lines on repeat. It would have been good if the AI was just a little bit smarter and more challenging. And the same with the animals. Sometimes they just stand there begging to be shot. Weapons. You carry a knife on your left forearm and then a handgun on your left hip, and then on your backpack you can carry either a rifle, bow and arrow, shotgun or automatic rifle. Once you upgrade the backpack you can carry 2 weapons, but it will add weight. They all feel pretty good to shoot. It's just the holding of the larger weapons is annoying. Most often you will end up juggling the weapon between 2 hands when you try to hold it with 2 hands, and then you will find shooting from the hip can be a problem also, as it wants to throw you into the sight mode. I wish there were a few sights you could choose from, as up close you will probably opt to fire from the hip using the laser rather than trying to look down a telescopic sight. Leveling up options. If you have ever played Saints and Sinners, then this game has the same type system of taking blueprints off the wall and building or upgrading using supplies you have found if you have found them. I really like this style of leveling up, and it makes me feel accomplished when I level up something. You have to go out, find supplies, leather, metal scraps, gun parts, batteries, ropes and many other things. It will tell you on the blueprints what you will need. Then just put the blueprint on the desk holder and then make that part. Level the desk up to gain more blueprints. There are 2 desks. One desk is for clothes, backpacks and medical. The other is more for weapon related like gunpowder, ammo, guns and accessories. Mechanics. There are many things the team are aware of already and are fixing, so I'm not going to go too hard into the faults, but they probably should have waited until the new year until they released this. Grabbing the rifle with 2 hands can be a pain. You grab it with the right hand, but when you go to grab the other end of the gun with your left hand, it tends to just swap hands, which is annoying when you're in a gunfight. Also, when you want to slide down a rope, sometimes trying to grab the pickaxe over the rope can be a little tricky. Then some of the loading times are just a little too long, especially after you die. The backpack is a pain to cycle through. Trying to touch the button to cycle to the next page is temperamental and you might end up skipping a few pages. So maybe adding the turn page to your thumbstick instead would be better than trying to touch an arrow on the sides of the backpack. And then I found upgrading the rifle cartridges is a little tricky because it doesn't tell you what you need to do to separate the cartridges first, then join the 2 together. And then you have to have the rifle in your hands to get to the other ammo clip on your belt. It all gets just a little bit tricky. You have a task book which you can grab from your chest. I think this has a known few issues, but to be honest, I didn't really use this book much at all. I find it a little confusing and not very well laid out to actually get any useful information from. But then, I've never actually been a fan of books in real life either. I'd rather watch the film. I've probably only read about 2 books since leaving school many moons ago. So mostly, it's just that restriction I have issues with. It's really hard to tell unless you play the game. It's like you know something feels wrong with the experience, but you can't quite put your finger on the problem, especially after playing the likes of Green Hell, where you can go wherever you want. Controls. The controls themselves are easy. Grabbing, shooting, climbing. I gotta say that I really like the axes for the rope sliding. And the climbing certain walls, you can even slide down the wall by squeezing your trigger. I wish there were more sections in the game for walls and rope climbing. Game menus. Menus look good and you can calibrate your equipment on you, such as notebook, ammunition and gun side holsters. Then option menus for the game offering language, subtitles, font size, vibrations and hour format. VR movement offering movement hand, movement direction, locomotive type, and you can choose to skip climbing and ziplining. The VR rotation offers rotation type, snap turn angle and rotation snap fade. The game inventory, so you can pick to have your gear on your left or right side, which is a watch, forearm knife and your backpack shoulder. And then finally, audio settings offer master volume, dialogue volume, music volume and sound volume, all controlled with sliders. My thoughts. It for sure has a Green Hell vibe about it, and parts of it are better and some parts not. I would say it's a mix of Green Hell and The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, 2 games I really enjoyed playing, and also were some of the first games I ever played in VR. I was very mixed feeling about this game for the first few hours, but it does start to open up the further you get in. I feel like Tracked has a very slow start. The first hour is great, but then 2 hours in and I found myself just going back and forth destinations just to light a fire and cook some meat, which was tedious. Then after about 3 or 4 hours I started finding new locations and actually getting involved in gunfights, unlocking more stuff at my cabin, getting better gear and weapons, and then the game really started to open up a bit more and the tasks got a bit better. I think I'd like to see some more modes as well, like when you finish the game it's like, well, what now? I don't want to replay the whole game, so I think it would be good to have a mode open up so when you complete the game you can play an open world mode where maybe the aim of the game then is to hunt 100 of every animal or kill 100 drug smugglers, collect 100 of each item, maybe have hidden collectibles around the map in crates and caravans. Things to make you want to keep playing and exploring after you've completed the main story. I like that you have weapons in this game, a knife, bow and arrows, rifles and handguns, but I wish I got to use them more than what I did. After I completed the game, I can say that I did enjoy playing through it. I tended to play in 2-hour sittings, which for me was a good amount of time until I found my concentration on a game starting to lack. Like, it's a great game, but something just feels lacking that would elevate it to a higher place, which I think is a combination of the enemies are stupid and animals always appear in the same place. Not enough things to shoot at, and some of the map is off limits, restricted actually. There was one part of the map that wouldn't let me explore a section of it, up in the mountains next to a blue fence, I believe it was. I loaded into an area, then I was faced with invisible walls all around, so I had to turn back. Anyway, just like Green Hell grew and evolved over years, which, by the way, I still haven't revisited since the new Amazon modes and the multiplayer, so I must get on that as it's been about 2 or 3 years. But I think in about another year, Tracked is going to be an absolute gem of a game. It's still a great game now, but in a year it'll be at its potential. So as always, I thank you for giving me your time if you made it this far into the review. Now please touch that like button to show me you made it. Thanks guys, and happy gaming.
Finish him, boys!